chatter and hoopla and hype. Their quarterback room will now have Trey Lance coming in to learn the system, and Jimmy G, who already knows this system, took him to a Super Bowl in said system. Yesterday, Jimmy Garoppolo compared it all to what he was a part of back in New England. Take a listen to this.
Kind of, coming full circle. You go through this NFL career and you start as a young guy, come in. Tom kind of showed me the ropes. The competition between us was awesome. Really made me grow as a rookie and a young player. And so that's kind of what me and Trey we'll mold our relationship into that, but it'll happen naturally. Just it's one of those things you can't force anything. Just let it come as it may. I know how it was coming from FCS school to the NFL. It's a bit of an adjustment, the speed, whatever you want to call it. It's just different. So whatever I can do to help him, I'll be more than happy.
Jimmy, tell me what's going to be different about this year, because you guys have all the pieces to win the whole damn thing.
All right, well, three-time Pro Bowl LeVar Arrington joining us now to break down what appears to be the nicest human on earth, or just what it sounds like. LeVar, you buying Jimmy G will be happy to help Trey Lance this coming season?
Absolutely, I'm buying it. And the reason why I'm buying it is because I don't feel as though Jimmy G looks at Trey Lance as being a problem to him, a threat to him in the immediate. When I hear something like this, I think to myself, I can remember when I played. Somebody made a great point, and I'm not sure who it was, so I don't want to give the wrong credit. But, quarterback is kind of the only position that you don't necessarily have to compete for every single year. Most every other position, you're competing for your job. They're drafting somebody to take your job every single year. So when I look at the Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo situation, Jimmy is still looking at a situation that it's only staying healthy that's his issue right now. Now, other people may make it a bigger issue. Maybe they talk about the way he throws the ball, Kyle Shanahan not trusting him. It could be a plethora of other things that people think about as it applies to Jimmy Garoppolo. But I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan in this 49ers team is looking at it other than, can he stay healthy? So Trey Lance is not the guy that they're bringing in to play immediately in San Francisco. It's still Jimmy Garoppolo's team. So I don't see there being any issue whatsoever. Yeah, B, that's to me, that's why Jimmy Garoppolo feels as though he's going to help Trey Lance. Go ahead.
So they gave up all of that, moved up to 3 for this guy to sit an entire year. Look, you are right. If he's clean, if he's not injured and he plays well, he'll be the starter. But that's a big if. We haven't seen that the last couple years. But I am buying that Jimmy G will help out Trey Lance. Why? Because that's the culture. Every single year, there's that they're going to draft somebody to replace you. They're going to sign somebody to replace you. That is the organization's job, is to go find somebody to replace you, because they know any given play, you can go down. That's our culture in the locker room. Now, the quarterback position and the quarterbacks, they're different creatures.
You're not coming out in the media and
if
saying
it's the
that.
culture?
You're not.
Why not?
Because
why not?
Within the culture, while I agree with you, it's within the culture to help guys that come out. But you're not going out of your way to have a conversation with the media like, yeah, they brought this guy in to take my job. And, I'm going to help him out. I'm going to help him to take my job.
Well, here's the interesting thing. He had to.
You wouldn't do that, nor would I.
We haven't. What did we talk about when Nick was on his little sabbatical? We talked about it's like you and I talked. Where's Jimmy G? Jimmy G needs to say something. This is the first time we've heard from Jimmy G. So all this speculation around the quarterback position. Will Jimmy G be there? Will he not be there? He has to address this, and this is the best way to do it. Is to attack it head on. Now, quarterbacks are different creatures. We talk about it all the time, but not all are sensitive like Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so Trey Lance coming in. He will lean on his experience in Foxborough in New England with Tom Brady and probably mimic exactly what happened to him there. But here's the deal, Nick. If Jimmy G slips, Trey Lance is going to be inserted into that offense, and it could be night-night. But this is an audition for Jimmy G. That's how he should approach it. The next 6 months is an audition for him. He can find himself in a better situation and potentially in Pittsburgh, a team who's going to be looking for a quarterback after this year.
Well, listen, Jimmy Garoppolo I believe, will start at least one game for the Niners this year, assuming he comes into the year healthy. And I think that is almost a guarantee he's going to start week 1. And I think it is an absolute guarantee he's not going to be on the team a year from now. He's going to be somewhere else. And to me, this is a statement of self-awareness. And I will give Jimmy Garoppolo credit. Jimmy Garoppolo knows he has not accomplished enough to be offended by a team trying to improve his position. He also knows it is in his best interest to be a great teammate, to try to play as well as he possibly can.
That's right.
Because he's got a long career ahead of him potentially. So I think it is and I know I used this example before the draft in the argument as to why the Niners should select Trey Lance, even though I was duped into finally believing they wouldn't. But it's the exact thing Alex Smith did. Alex Smith saw his team trade multiple first-round picks to move up in the draft. He knew, okay, am I a starting quarterback in this league? Yes. Am I a good enough starting quarterback in this league to guarantee? Yes. Yeah, of course that's what I'm talking about.
And how long did it take? How long did it take for Pat Mahomes to get that starting job?
It took a year. Of course. It took a year. I think I'm not disagreeing with you, LeVar. I think it's on the board. I think it is on the board that Jimmy G starts throughout the year. I think that his hold on the job is tenuous. I think that obviously he has to stay healthy and he has to play well because they will be ready to move to Trey Lance. But I also don't think they feel like they have to move to Trey Lance this season, just like the Chiefs didn't feel like they had to move to Patrick Mahomes that season, even though he was brilliant according to all reports in practice. But Wilds, I think this is, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, LeVar.
You're way more right than Brandon Marshall. It isn't just the way. You're way more correct than D. Marshall. I'm just letting you know.
Hey, you just want to argue. You just want to argue.
No,
Anything I say, you're going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum.
Hold on. Let me throw it to Wilds because Wilds has been the resident Jimmy G fan on this show for a couple years.
Oh,
yeah. I think this is the best Jimmy G has looked since we've talked about it. I think this level of self-awareness and understanding and not, well, sure, he always looks good. I just think he comes across really well here because he knows who he is, he understands his role, and he doesn't seem to be, upset by it, which would, to me, show a sense of entitlement that he hasn't earned. So I think Jimmy G comes out here looking very good.
Yeah, I think when Jimmy G looked around NFL history, he said, how can I play this? It's like, well, Tom Brady and me, well, that didn't really work out because I got shipped away and Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. That's not it. How about Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love? Well, all right, well, Aaron Rodgers is mad and he's threatening to leave. Who else can I sort of model my behavior after? And Brandon, you know what? I think it's Kurt Warner and Eli, except he's much younger than Kurt Warner, where you know that you sort of had success, you got injured a lot, people gave up on you. Eli's going to come in, you play great, or you're like, you don't play great, but you sort of play like the elder statesman. You go to Arizona, you get to a Super Bowl. I think that's the move. The one thing I do want to push back on, Brandon, tell me what you think about this. There's a narrative out there that because Trey Lance is so athletic, he'll be willing to, he can start because he can make plays with his legs. Like, I'm not into that at all. Like, that really scares me if I was a 49ers fan. Like, if a play breaks down and you shouldn't really throw it away and you just decide to take off, I feel like that puts the future of the franchise at too much risk.
No, but also part of the narrative is that he's a quick processor. So, yes, we've seen